Welcome to the 2021-2022 Spook Tracks quarterback rankings. Now, before we get started with the video, I'd like to remind you that this video is sponsored by DraftKings, like all of our videos. If you are someone who loves about sports, but you're really not making any money, I promise you, go to DraftKings, you will see a profit within the first month of playing, alright? They've got the best promotions, the best bets, best daily fantasy, they beat all the competition, better than FanDuel, ESPN Fantasy, Yahoo Fantasy, trust me. So if you hit that link up in the description, you will get $15 free DraftKings cash once you make your first $10 deposit. So, recommend all of you make a DraftKings account and start betting on games. It's really fun, and win some cash. Alright, now let's get to the video. For today's video, we've got a panel of experts, and these are the top experts. So if you disagree with any of them, you're wrong, because this is their job, they know what they're doing. Alright, so let's get right into it. We've got coming in at 31, the 31st best quarterback, and yes, I said 31, because Lamar Jackson is not a quarterback. He's a running back, and a poor one at that, alright? So he will not be in these rankings. He'll be in the running back rankings, probably around 32. So let's get into it. 31st quarterback is going to be Drew Lock / Teddy Bridgewater. At the moment, Teddy Bridgewater is the starter, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Drew Lock at some point during the season, assuming they haven't given up on him. And now let's start this off by talking about Teddy Bridgewater. Bridgewater is like that guy who's always there, always showing up, but he's just there. He doesn't really do anything, like he'll be at the party, just standing there. He's okay as a placeholder, but he's never good enough to take your team anywhere near contending level. Drew Lock, on the other hand, has all the arm power in the world, but zero accuracy. Like, if you gave Drew Lock a bow and arrow and told him to hit that target, he would find a way to hit himself with the arrow, and he'd be in the hospital because he's that bad. And moving on to number 30 in our preseason quarterback power rankings, we've got Sam Darnold for the Carolina Panthers. I know a lot of people are really hoping Sam's going to be able to turn it around with this new change of scenery. Let me tell you, he's not. Why? 2 words. Bona fide scrub. The man cannot play. And if you want to argue with me, just go watch his film with the Jets. He can't throw because terrible footwork, especially in his feet and the lower body, and really bad decision making that leads to a lot of inaccuracies and turnovers. It's not going to change in the Panthers, alright? He's not going to be good. Accept it. Start the tank. Alright, moving on to the next quarterback, number 29. We've got Carson Wentz. I know a lot of you are going to be like, Carson Wentz has all the talent in the world. He was an MVP level player just a couple years ago. Yeah, he had the talent, not anymore. Why? Because he has the emotional stability of a 3rd grader, alright? Carson Wentz is so fragile. He got rattled when his team drafted Jalen Hurts, alright? He's broke. He's done. He's never going to be the same again. He's so emotionally unstable that he still has his mom hold his hand when he walks to the practice fields and to the games. Alright, next up on our preseason quarterback power rankings, we've got Zach Wilson clocking in at 28. Not a ton to say about Zach. Obviously, he's a rookie with huge potential. What I really like about him is he's got a ton of mobility in the pocket, a ton of athleticism, and he also possesses a huge arm. Some weaknesses, sometimes he does seem to overextend plays and try to do a bit too much with his legs, but I think honestly he's going to be a great pro. The only thing holding him back is that Jets team and that offense, and we'll see how much they do improve this year. Now coming in next at 27, we've got Jimmy Garoppolo / Trey Lance. At the moment, we don't know for sure who the week 1 starter is going to be. We have to assume Trey Lance is going to take over this quarterback room at some point in the season. But Jimmy G, he's good when healthy, but he's really not healthy much. He's basically made out of glass. Like, if you hit that guy with the bat, he would shatter. Bam. Hire a cleaning lady. Trey Lance, huge potential. Really love him. He's got a ton of mobility. Honestly, he could end up being the best quarterback in that draft. Alright, next up, at number 26, we've got Danny Dimes. Although, honestly, at this point, his nickname should be Danny Nichols or Danny Silverjolly, because he's definitely not dropping dimes. Daniel Jones is essentially a game manager who can't manage the game. This is basically a prove-it year for Daniel. If he's not good, if the Giants aren't good, he's done. They've got Kenny Galladay, they've got a relatively healthy Saquon Barkley. He's got to make some noise or he's out the door. Personally, I think he's gone. Up next, at number 25, we have Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of people are super high on Hurts based off his performance last year and his college performances at Oklahoma and Alabama. But I'm not totally sold, and I think we have to pump the brakes a little bit. The reason for this is he's super inconsistent in the pocket. Sometimes he's as cool as a cucumber, making passes, making plays with his legs, but oftentimes he's completely unaware of pressure and gets a lot of bad sacks and turnovers. I think the potential is there because of his ability to extend drives with his legs, but he's definitely got to clean up his game a little bit. Moving on to number 24, you've got Jameis Winston of the New Orleans Saints. I gotta say, Winston looked really good in the last preseason game, and he looked like a whole new different guy. I know it's just preseason, but if it's true that Winston can now see, I guess, he could have a really good year. The only thing in his way is Taysom Hill and Sean Payton's love affair. If that gets cleared out, I'm super high on Winston. Okay, coming up next at number 23, we've got Tua the Hawaiian. Not only is Tua very ethnic, he's also really high potential player. I know last year wasn't great for him, but we know he's got some pocket mobility and he's got some solid accuracy. He definitely has all the tools it takes to become a career starting quarterback for the Dolphins, but he's definitely going to show that he is the Dolphins' future quarterback. They didn't show a ton of confidence in the offseason, but they did not bring in a new quarterback like some people rumored they would, but they also tried to attempt at least to trade for Deshaun Watson. So I don't think the Dolphins are totally sold on Tua as the quarterback of the future. He's really got to get out there and prove it. He's got new targets in there with Will Fuller, Devontae Parker. Obviously, health is always a problem with those guys, but I think he should be set up for a pretty good improvement in year 2. Okay, coming in at number 22 on the quarterback power rankings, we have Cam Newton and Mac Jones. Okay, so I just want to cover some news that went down in the NFL a couple days ago. Obviously, as you guys probably know by now, Cam Newton was cut and Mac Jones was named the starter. At the making of this video, we did not know that, so we still had both Cam Newton and Mac Jones at that spot. Now, obviously, things have changed, so I'm just going to say, with Mac Jones as the starter, I think the Patriots offense has really opened up to new possibilities, new depths, because they were really limited with Cam there. I mean, he's just not the same as he once was, and they wouldn't have much of a passing game, a deep game. You know, with Mac there's a lot more possibility, and it's definitely good for pretty much everyone in that offense. And, you know, I think Mac Daddy can have a really good career. He's obviously got to worry about the athleticism a bit, and looking at some pictures he could use to cut down on the McDonald's, but if he becomes more mobile, he definitely could be a great quarterback. And coming in at number 21, we've got Andy Dalton and Justin Fields. It seems to me that the Red Rocket has really lost his engine as of late because he just hasn't looked good. He hasn't looked like a starting level quarterback, and he's not someone you really want to see on the field for the Bears. Justin Fields, on the other hand, has shown a ton of potential, and he really showed why the Bears traded up to draft him. He showed his ability to make plays with his arm and also really to extend drives, pick up first downs, and move the chains with his legs. He's a very dangerous player in the future, and I think pretty much every Bears fan is happy to have him and can't wait till they see him. Alright, then at number 20, we've got Jared Goff. Obviously, Jared Goff is a downgrade from Matthew Stafford, and there's no real reason of hope for any Lions fans. It's going to be another miserable year, so buckle up. Really, any Detroit fan at this point is just living a pretty terrible nightmare because it's not a good time to be a Lions fan, and Jared Goff is not going to make anything any better. Alright, he's a decent quarterback, not the answer, not the future. Okay, so coming in at 19, we've got Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously, T-Law is a great quarterback prospect, number 1 pick in the NFL draft, rightfully deserved. He's arguably the most hyped quarterback prospect coming out of college since Andrew Luck, and rightfully, as he's a huge talent. Obviously, we all saw what he did at Clemson. I mean, he's going to be fun to watch if you're a Jaguars fan or not. He's got a great arm, great accuracy. Really, he's just very all-around solid and good. More interestingly, though, up next at 18, we've got Ryan Fitzpatrick. A lot of people super high on Fitz. They think he's going to really add something extra to the Washington football team that they just didn't have last year, you know, with their trio of quarterbacks. And I don't really buy that because the thing about Fitzpatrick is he's just not good. Like, there's no such thing as magic, alright? It's all just tricks. It's all an illusion. And that's what Fitzmagic is. He'll be good for like 5 games, and then the next game he'll throw 6 interceptions, and then again, and you lose 6 straight, and you're bringing in Tyler Heineke. So I think you got to pump the brakes a little bit. Could Washington football team still fight for the division? Yes, because the division's terrible. But that doesn't mean that Fitzpatrick's going to have a great year. I'd be surprised if he did, honestly. Alright, and next up we've got Big Ben Roethlisberger coming in at number 17. And while there's no denying Ben's great character off the field, as he's shown time and time again, there is some question with his playing abilities nowadays in his career, as, yeah, he's still viable as a starting quarterback, and we know that he can still make plays, but his deep ball and his arm strength definitely has to be questioned. He's still not mobile at all, so the Pittsburgh offense is limited by him there. They don't really have any other options at quarterback as of now. So, I mean, I'm not big on him, but he'll get the job done. He'll put him in a position to make the playoffs. He won't really put him anywhere near Super Bowl contention. But once again, applaud the guy. Heck of a man. So, you gotta love that about him. Alright, and then next at 16, we've got Joe Burrow from the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe is obviously coming off a pretty major injury. Let's not even call it injury. Let's call it attempted murder by the offensive lineman. Or really by the organization that puts that offensive lineman out there every day. And they don't really go to any lengths to improve that in the offseason. If Joe goes down this year, which he probably will at some point, anytime he gets sacked, I think this should be involving the FBI, the CIA, the police, all of them, and they should be going after the coaches, because this is not accidental. This is really the front office organization trying to get Joe Burrow hurt. It's that clear. Like, they need offensive line help because Mixon's not great without it. Burrow's not great without it. We'll see how long it lasts. It might last the whole season. I might be wrong. But just looking at the O-line, it doesn't look much better than last year. And if there's one thing you gotta do, you gotta protect your young second-year quarterback. Okay, so at 15, we've got Kirk Cousins. And I mean, yeah, I like Kirk. He's a good quarterback. Like, he's not great. He's not something special like Mahomes or Rodgers. He's not bad. You know, he makes the throws he needs to make. He'll get the ball to Jefferson. He'll get it to Thielen. And yeah, he'll throw some interceptions. But overall, he's a good quarterback, and he's a pretty good guy. You know, he just seems like a cool dude. Seems like a family man from those commercials. And like, I wouldn't mind being part of his family if I had to say. I think he could be a good dad. So, you know, Kirk, if you're open, I'm available. If you're looking for a son to adopt, but no pressure. You know, it's up to you. Alright, so next we've got number 14 of the Las Vegas Raiders, Derek Carr. I mean, he's got a weird looking head. He kind of looks like a convict, you know, like a prisoner with those eyes. But I mean, overall, I like Derek Carr. I think he's really underrated by a lot of people. He's a good quarterback. He's never really had that good of a team around him. The Raiders have pretty much failed him. Even this year, he's got Waller, but Jacobs and Draker is a good running back core, but he really doesn't have much in the way of receivers. Like, Bryan Edwards might be their number one receiver, so they've got to do something for him. But I think he's a good guy. I wonder what car he drives. You would think with that name he's gonna have like a Lambo. I'd have to check that out. But yeah, that's all we got for Derek Carr. Alright, at 13 we've got Matt Ryan from the Atlanta Falcons. I'm a pretty big Matt Ryan fan. Obviously, in his prime, he was a lot better. He's still a good quarterback now. Like, he makes good throws. And it's usually his defense that fails him, and his running game has been bad recently. Todd Gurley was not good last year. Don't fool yourself. And so, yeah, I mean, the team got really unlucky last year, so I do think they'll have a better year. I mean, he's not, like, elite, but he's close, you know, at this stage in his career. The only downside with a guy like Matt Ryan is his face, you know. Like I said, I just want to get out of the way. Very good quarterback, but he's kind of like a reddish face, almost. Like, it looks like he's really sunburned. Like, you look at him, you see his neck, his face. Not like he's like an Indian, but like, I don't know. He just needs to put on some sunscreen. That's what I'm saying. You know. All right. So next up we've got Baker Mayfield at number 12. Baker Mayfield is actually pretty good at football, as it turns out. I don't know how good he is at baking things. I would guess not good, just by the looks at him. He's kind of a goof, but you know, he's a good quarterback. He showed a lot of improvement last year, and there's a lot of people who think he's going to improve even more this year, which is probably the reason for such a high ranking. We'll see if the Browns are a Super Bowl contender. I'm kind of seeing him as more as a pretender. I'm not really sold on Baker yet. We'll see. Alright, and at 11 we have Justin Herbert from the Los Angeles Chargers. Herbert was a rookie last year, and he just way, outdid expectations. Like, I'm talking, like, no one really expected this kid to come in and, like, perform at that level right away, because usually there's growing pains, and, like, yeah, he had some, but he was a lot better than what most people thought they were getting with him, and obviously transformed that offense compared to what it was like when Tyrod Taylor was under center before he got stabbed by his, like, doctor. What a clown show that was. Like, drove a stake through his, like, lung or something. What a bozo. But I mean, yeah, Herbert's good. And you watch his, like, film. He's got a very good arm, and he's not like a statue in the pocket. He can move. So I like him. I think he could have a huge year this year. That's a good offense too, the Chargers. And that is it. Thank you all so much for watching this video. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out part 2, which should be dropping sometime around Sunday. And if you didn't like this video, still check out part 2, because we've got a $1,000 giveaway coming. So watch that video, whether you like this video or not. Try to get that giveaway. And don't forget, Spook Tracks is the only place for your sports entertainment. Not ESPN, not CBS Sports, Spook Tracks.